Pat Kirwan of CBS's NFL Today Show and Moving the Chains weekday afternoons on NFL Radio. Pat, 9 days before the draft, how you holding up?
I'm doing fine. You got to get ready to go, and I have a meeting this morning about how we're going to do it. Jim and I are going to be at our homes. Jason Horowitz will be in New Jersey, and I think Rick Neuheisel is going to be in Arizona. But we've all worked together, so I've done 1,000 TV shows with Jason, and obviously with Jimmy, tons of stuff, and Neuheisel as well. So we don't anticipate any issues in that. Now, we regularly get a lot of the players come and sit down with us as they're drafted. I don't know how they're going to work that out, if they're going to come on remotely with us, but we're going to be on Zoom like everybody else, and we'll see how that works, but getting ready for it. I'm not adding any more players to my work, so I've got 288 done, and I think hopefully that'll cover it. If we get someone that's not on my 288 list, I'll just call Gil, because Gil will know who the guy is.
Pat, before we get into serious draft talk, I have one question really about free agency right now, because I know you kind of keep track of this, and if I catch you without the numbers, my apologies. But do we have numbers as to how many free agents are left? And in your estimation, how many of those guys are signed in the next 9 days? How many teams are still actively looking to fill a hole or two with free agents before the draft, or are we going to cool off completely until basically Monday of next week?
It's a great question, Mark, and it's got two answers. There'll be a list of guys that you're going to put on hold, and you're going to let the agent know we're trying to draft that position. We're not sure we're going to get it drafted. If we miss, you'll be hearing from us during the draft to secure the services of your client. So that's the first way. So you keep a lot of guys on the back burner in case. And many times during the third round, as an example, that's usually when it happens. You're going to clear the first three rounds on Friday night. You wanted a defensive end. You didn't get one. You didn't feel like you could even trade to get one, and now there's guys waiting for you to call, and it could be a lot of guys. It could be Everson Griffin's agent, Vinny Curry's agent, Jabal Sheard, Mike Bennett, Cam Wake. So there's a bunch of those guys that could fit the bill, and they know they're on hold. Now, guys like Everson Griffin, they've got a lot of teams. Now, someone might say, before the draft in the next 9 days, to your first part, we're not going to get a defensive end. Not where we're situated. Maybe they don't have a first-round pick and they see the run coming. Paul, I was in and I talked about this yesterday. The reason teams are running mock drafts over and over again, not everyone does it, but he was at the Bengals a long time. They did it, and we did it when we were at the Jets together, is to figure out where the run is. And are you in a realistic spot to get one? If you arrive at the conclusion, your own personal conclusion, that you won't, then you're going to call up a Griffin or a Clay Matthews, and you're going to try to strike a deal now. And those guys might be thinking, yeah, I'll take a deal before the draft. I don't want to be, the influence of the draft and taken away. Every team that drafts an end is going to, get rid of the idea of signing Everson Griffin or even Clay Matthews as a pass rusher. So some of those guys will. And I think I picked defensive pass rushers because I think that's where most of the strength of what's remaining in free agency is. And then you listen to Gettleman, and Dave talks about, and this is important, they determine, the strength of free agency and compare it to the draft pool. And they did that back in the beginning. And then you have to do it again now, because now I love when guys say, well, our draft board's set. No draft board is totally set. That's all BS. There's still medical stuff dribbling in. There's still a guy that can get in trouble. We all know that. We've talked about it for weeks here. And so the draft board is still volatile. And then you have to – that's why the pro personnel guy is going to be in the room or in this world connected. He's got to be able to respond. Okay, we're going to miss on defensive tackle. Do you like the tackles that are left? Who's left? Have you talked to them? And would we have to settle for, Marcel Darius? Well, we would. And then all of a sudden guys are going, let's trade up. So all of it's married together, Mark.
Pat, to me, it's when the runs are going to start in this draft. And
right.
the draft, let's face it, the draft starts at Detroit at 3. Burrow and Chase Young are going 1 and 2. But if the Chargers, say, move ahead of the Dolphins and take the Dolphins quarterback, the Dolphins could go, we don't like the guy that's left, so we're going to take an offensive tackle. And the Giants are likely going to take a tackle at 4. And now all of a sudden, the run on tackles starts because teams start, Tampa Bay at 14 may feel like, oh, blank, we got to trade up. We got to get into the top 10 or we're not going to get one of the 4 tackles. I mean, I think what Detroit does at 3 and who gets it could then determine whether or not we do the run on tackles, which then is going to be much earlier than the run on receivers. And then, could Herbert or Tua be the third quarterback that falls into, late in the top 10 or into the teens even? I think what Detroit does at 3 and who they do it with is really the draft.
I do think it starts it. I'm going to go back to the beginning, though. It's funny when everyone's Chase Young, that's a lock at 2. And it probably is. I'm just going to warn everybody. If you're playing with him with his hand on the ground, you and I talked about this, David, last week. You might not get the same guy that the team who plays him as an outside linebacker would get. I've watched enough of them now to know you better be fair. I talked to 2 GMs about it, and they thought, well, I don't know, Pat. You kind of like, I said, let me just go watch these 2 games and tell me you think he's the number 1 defensive end of all time. So I'm always a little nervous about that. But he's probably going to go 2, so you're right. 3 is the trigger spot. So 3 is going to trigger either what you just suggested, the run-on tackles will be earlier, or the run-on quarterbacks is on. So I think it's going to still be the quarterback run. I mean, and I think Detroit should be really interested in not going that far down. And that's why talking to Miami is probably what they should do. And they shouldn't ask for a ton to do it. And then the Chargers may want to throw more at them. But I promise you, Herbert is very much in the eyes of the Dolphins and the Chargers. They do not see that as, well, we're not taking Herbert. We're gonna pass. So I do think they're going to land up both getting quarterbacks. But I do think your point about the run on the tackles, to me, it could start right with the Giants. Like, knowing Gettleman as I do, Isaiah Simmons is going to be very appealing to him. But the tackle grades are so strong, and they haven't wavered one bit. And you're going to get a terrific tackle. Now, if you want a tackle and you're the Giants, you may be tempted to move down yourself a few spots and sell your spot to the other quarterback team to ensure no one like Jacksonville goes up to take the spot away. And you say to yourself, well, we like 3 of the tackles, so it doesn't matter. We could move down. We're guaranteed one of the 3 guys. And so it's interesting, but I do think if it starts, a tackle run starts with the Giants, it could be over. The 4 kids could be done by 10. And then all those guys below that want to tackle are going to have to really think long and hard about Jackson and Jones and maybe even Wilson. So Isaiah Wilson's sitting there, and he's a pure right tackle. And according to Paul Alexander yesterday, a lot of people, especially if you need a right tackle, are excited about that guy. And all of a sudden, that could be their fallback position. That there's going to be a second run of tackles somewhere in the bottom half of the first round. So it'll go like crazy, simmer down, and then maybe the receiver run starts. And then those 3 tackles, like, as soon as someone takes one of those 3, the other 2 are going to fall really fast. So that's 7 tackles in the first round.
Well, Pat, and you seem to think, every once in a while, you seem to think I care about the Lions, because I really don't. I've never been a fan, but I'm fascinated by how bad they are. I am just fascinated by how god-awful this franchise is. And I guess my question is, listening to you, and you said it in your mock draft, you traded down twice. Is Detroit smart enough? Are the people running this team smart enough to do this in this draft? Because every scenario you've placed out in front of us for 2 weeks, Pat, has Detroit trading down at least once, if not twice. Are they smart enough to pull this off?
I don't know, because I don't think they've ever done it. So It can be done, and it's always a matter of where do you go first. If you go to 5 and move and let Dolphins have the spot, then trading down again is not that hard. If you don't go to 5, then the Chargers, that's a quick swap if you want to do that. But why would the Chargers do it? Because they're afraid of someone below you, making a move up there, whether it's Jacksonville, which some people think it would be. It could be anybody, really. And who knows? To David's point, I don't think Tua has ever fallen down below 10. But if he did, boy, you have to wonder what the Patriots would do and how much they could muster to put something together. So, everyone loves all this. This is the part of the draft that everyone loves. It's the poker game before the perfect game. What would you do with a straight and everything else? So I don't know. I just can take you back to Kansas City, and they really just had a deal with Cleveland. They didn't have a lot else going on that was going to work for them or a partner that wanted to work with them. But they had, their anxiety was Arizona and that someone was going to beat them to Cleveland's spot. And that morning I talked to one of the guys in there. They were nervous as could be that there was someone else going to do it. And they had one plan to get to Mahomes that was going to work if no one else got involved. So I don't think a lot of these guys, Mark, have a bunch of plans, but I don't know. It wouldn't be that hard for Detroit to bump twice down, and it's happened before. I talked on this show about Charlie Castley doing it in Washington. So you can do it, and it's just a question of how far you go down the first time. If you don't go that far, you could bump down again. So they should do that. And Jacksonville's sitting there with Ngakoue as a piece, along with draft compensation, to get up pretty high. So I don't know how they're going to hand this team over to Minshew and just say, well, it's all yours, kid. They've done things like that before. They can't afford to make that kind of mistake. So I don't know. I don't think after the 3 quarterbacks, I don't think we're going to be seeing people go crazy for the 4th quarterback. I think, Eason or someone will go, or Love. Love to me, boy, I'll tell you, I don't hear it for him as much as people think it's out there for him. He's way too raw. And I think a lot of these GMs know. I think they've come to the decision you can't put that guy in the field too early, and that's when GMs don't want quarterbacks in the first round because the media and the fans are crying for the guy. And if there are fans, I don't know, but so I'd be careful about that one. I think it might be Eason the next one.
Well, the Saints and Patriots at 23 and 24, and obviously we don't know if New England has a quarterback, and we know that New Orleans' quarterback is near the end. So there's a lot of thought that Love is going to go in one of those 2 spots. I do find it interesting. I believe the Vikings bracket both those 2 teams because the Vikings got the Bills' first-round pick. Wouldn't be surprised if somebody really loves Love that they have to trade and get the Vikings' first pick to keep him away from New Orleans or New England.
Have you watched him, Dave? Have you watched him?
Yes, and I watched him 3 times last year. I only saw him once the year before. He looked terrific. Every time I saw him last year, he looked terrible.
Right.
Terrible, by the way. Not inconsistent. No, he looked bad every time I saw him last year. I made appointment viewing to stay up and to watch him. I mean, he's playing at Utah State. This is CBS Sports Network at 10:30 at night here, Pat. And
yes,
he did not look good. I wouldn't touch him for what it's worth. For whatever that's worth.
It's worth a lot. I mean, I just think that this is a different the set of rules for a first-round quarterback. They can say whatever they want. They're different than other rounds. You take that kind of guy in the 3rd round and no one's asking you a question, and 2 years from now he's starting, and it's kind of a smooth transition from obscurity to the field. You take him in the 1st round and there's a microscope on.
Pat, I mean, look, I get the Love thing, and you guys are both right. But what about Herbert? I mean, and I'm no expert. You guys break this down better than I do, but I made a point to watch this guy. I never saw anything when I watched him play that I went, oh boy, this is the guy. And he's just ripping up this draft board that he may go ahead of Tua. And I get that the injuries were there for Tua, but can you tell me why all of a sudden, I mean, Justin Herbert seems to be the most sought after quarterback all of a sudden? Because I don't get it, Pat.
Yeah, well, let me react to all of a sudden. Last year, if he came out, he would have been the first quarterback. A lot of people felt that way about him. So what did he do this year? So go watch the Auburn game, all right? He's playing against a team with superior defensive talent to his offensive talent. He's throwing the ball very nicely around the field. He's got run skills, runs for an incredible touchdown in the game, break a tackle. He can throw a 30-yard out. So all those things. He's big. And then he goes to the Senior Bowl and he tears it up. People can criticize that, but a lot of guys saw what they wanted to see in him. And so the whole issue is, well, is he a leader or not? He's a quiet kid, but his teammates respect him. And so, yes, it's partially due to the Tua injuries. But last year, his name was on the tip of everyone's tongue. And a lot of guys were saying last year, Mark, oh, don't take a quarterback in 2019. Herbert's coming out next year. So there's been expectations for him for a while, and he's not just a prototypical tall guy in the pocket. He can run, and he runs quite well, as a matter of fact, and he can sprint out. And so that means he can run RPOs. He can do a lot of different things. And as I said, his stock went way up at the Senior Bowl because people liked what they saw, and they liked talking to him. So that's, in my mind, why it's where it is. And quarterbacks always move up the draft somewhere, and they start climbing. And he didn't have very far to climb to get there. Was anyone talking about a guy named Joe Burrow last year before the draft?
No, absolutely not. Nope,
so
absolutely not. It was a project.
He was not on the future plans. And I had a guy call yesterday going, we should skip quarterback this year and take the Clemson kid. I go, yeah, well, so does 31 other teams. No one's doing that. You can't prepare for the future by holding your breath for a year. What if you're just 2 picks away? What if you're 1 pick away and the team with the pick doesn't want to move? You think the guy who has the first pick in next year's draft, there's a good question for you two. Who's got the first pick in next year's draft? Jimmy Miller's already cast his vote. I'll cast mine after you guys. Who's got the first pick? That you would say, hey, they know they're getting the Clemson kid. That's the answer. No one knows.
I'll put my money on the New York Jets.
And they won't take him. But let's, who Jimmy Miller says is Carolina.
Well, I think it would have been Carolina if they didn't sign Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you on that. They'll miss by two spots. How about Detroit?
Possible. But I think with Stafford playing, they're better than. Look, I just read an article this morning before the show that
you guys,
the Jets are favored in 1 game this year. 1, Pat, as of right now. Odds makers have the Jets winning 1 game.
Right, and they probably will win enough to be the first pick. But I'm telling you, it's not an easy question to answer. And if you really can think about it, we can't even include. Well, what if Kyler Murray goes down with an injury on week 1? Are they going first? Do they want the Clemson? It's insane to think, let's skip quarterback because we'll get the Clemson kid next year. What if he gets hurt? What if he turns into Tua with a hip injury? There's a million things. So waiting to take a quarterback is foolish. If you see one and your grading system says that this guy can be our starter, you just take him, and you don't think twice about it.
He's Pat Kirwan of CBS and of NFL Radio, moving the chains weekday afternoons with Jim Miller. He joined us on the Goldberg, Noon Abraham Law Firm hotline, goldberg-law.com. Pat, brought to you for many a year now by Pinchers, have 3 locations still open: Fort Myers Beach, Bonita Springs on 41, and in Naples. So order your takeout from one of those 3 Pinchers locations: Fort Myers Beach, Bonita Springs, and Naples. Pat, stay safe.
I will, fellas. Enjoy your day, and I'd be interested if you run a poll. Who's got the first pick next year? I can't figure out who it's going to be, but apparently the fans think they already know.
Pat Kirwan with the final word once again here on Miller and Moulton.